Let's stay with our main news tonight. The death of two teenage friends just hours after they'd taken methadrone has led to calls for the drug to be banned. Ministers say they will take whatever action is needed to prevent further tragedies. Well, I'm joined in the studio by Paul Toohey, who's Chief Executive of the Mentor Foundation, which campaigns against drug misuse. Thank you for coming in. How concerned are you about methadrone?
Well, we're not just concerned about methadrone, we're concerned about all illegal substances, and one could argue some that are not currently illegal. The situation at the moment is that we have a culture in the UK where more children than ever before are getting involved in substance misuse. Our alcohol consumption for young people is the highest in Western Europe. And you know, we see issues like these drugs coming on the market now very, very regularly. And after methadrone, in another year or so, there'll be another drug. No one had heard of methadrone a year or two ago. And now we have two young lads who we know have died possibly as a direct result of it.
Yes,
that
exactly,
has yet to be established.
So
more
result.
work has to be done, not just on the treatment aspects of this. The issue for us is not about whether it's legal or illegal. It's about preventative methods so that young people can actually make positive choices and not actually want to take drugs in the first place.
So do you think a ban would be helpful in this
I think a ban would be helpful in the short term because it will take a drug off the market, which quite frankly at this moment is a drug which a lot of young people have access to. Because it's in effect a legal drug, the accessibility for young people to get hold of it is high. By banning it or quarantining it, as there's some calls for them, putting it, parking it as a category D drug, for example, where research can then be carried out, will mean that a lot more young people don't have access to it. But obviously at Mentor we recognise that there is an argument to say, oh, well, that will then drive it underground. But what we're talking about here is the risk element, and I think you have to apply some common sense in this issue when we're talking about young people who are, you know, harming themselves by taking something where they're not quite sure what it is. And I think we have to understand that when we talk about this term legal high, it kind of sends a message to young people that it could be okay to take because it's legal, and that's not the message we need to get across to young people.
There isn't, though, it doesn't seem, a great deal of evidence to back up that this drug is actually harming people. I mean, as you say, there are these two guys who have died after taking methadrone, but it seems they were possibly taking other things. They were certainly drinking. Also, methadone was involved as well. A ban has to be made on the basis of hard scientific facts, doesn't it?
Ultimately, to make something illegal, yes, or a ban needs scientific evidence. The question is, when do you make the decision? When do you make the call? Are we going to wait 18 months and maybe for another few young people to have to die as a result of possibly this drug or a mixture of drugs? But again, I come back to this issue that there has to be more work done in preventative measures to stop this happening in the first place. Governments quite often are under a great deal of pressure for quick fixes, and all of the large amounts of money that are spent in this country predominantly is on treatment. Treatment's not good enough. We have to get a greater proportion of the budget that's spent on this issue on prevention, which means that teachers in the classroom need to have more time to do preventative work based on fact and evidence. And Mentor is about getting that evidence into the classroom to give teachers the tools they need, which means that kids come out of school, not just with their 3 A-levels and their GCSEs, but as rounded human beings that don't go near dangerous drugs.
Paul Toohey, thank you.
Thank you.